I'm sure you've been on top of everything. For you, what are big wins this week and what are big losses?
Well, I mean, to be honest, ang basa ko dito is the Marcos administration is having a very hard time balancing between a more performative version of addressing accountability and corruption issue and also having a much more substantive one. Obviously, kung purely substantive lang, this could go in many different directions that could actually hurt the president or people very close to him. You have no less than his cousin previously, now even his son facing potential investigations by the ICI. If you're also purely performative, obviously, that's not going to encourage people, right? And that's going to make people dissatisfied, and that could actually provide more ammunition for the critics, whether in the, I would say, progressive liberal section of the opposition or critics on the pro-Duterte camp, if not the anti-constitutionalist camp, to say, well, lahat na yan ay circus lang, we need total change of government or at least resignation of the president. So balancing between a more performative and substantive version of accountability is clearly something that the administration is trying to do very, very hard. And I think so far, perhaps they're doing just good enough, to put it mildly. But clearly, if you look at the numbers of the president, it's among the lowest since President Arroyo. So that tells you that President Marcos Jr. is also struggling to gain the trust of people, or at least to present himself as a kind of a savior amid this massive public outcry over the corruption scandals.
What is going on with the ICI? This was created to be a substantive body to actually probe things, and then suddenly there are all these resignations. They didn't even, I think we watched the interview earlier on with Babe Sing's son, and he mentioned he touched not even $1 million of the 41 million peso budget that was supposed to be issued. What's going on here? Do you still believe in the ICI?
Well, the ICI is a moving target, no? I mean, from the very moment it was announced, whether its mandate, its membership, and then the rotation of its membership, it clearly shows that indeed the administration is trying to calibrate this. They don't want the ICI to be too powerful because it could end up bringing down the whole administration. At the same time, they cannot make it a Mickey Mouse court, right? Because otherwise, what's the point of this? It's going to backfire even further against the president. It's going to look like a kind of a cover-up operation, right? So they cannot do that. That's why it was very important from the beginning to bring in personalities who have strong reputation, or at least have no reputation of being involved in corruption. So former Secretary Sing's son, of course, Mayor Magalong, even to a certain degree, General Azurin, having these kinds of people in the ICA was very important because you need the brand, right? That's why I say performative, because the ICA is also about the brand. It's about what you signal, what you say. But having said that, I think habang patapos ng taon at papunta tayo sa bagong taon, sisingil na din ng taong bayan. Sasabihin nila, oh, may nakulong ba? May nangyari pa? But interestingly, actually, a lot of the power is with the Ombudsman Office. And I think that's why it's very important that you have the former DOJ Secretary now in charge of the Ombudsman Office. And it looks like they're now going to move against some major personalities. But, of course, for the Ombudsman Office, it's very clear that they're going to prioritize cases where there is a high certainty of conviction. They're not just going to go after everyone. But people are going to question that judgment, going to say, oh, isn't it interesting that the only cases that they feel there's high certainty of conviction are against people who are not necessarily close to the president. So again, you need recalibration on that. So, kumbaga, ano yun eh, just doing good enough over and over again. And the reason why I said the president is still medyo safe pa rin siya. I say that in a sense that just a month ago or even weeks ago, there were worries about really some major destabilization in the country. There's still worries about coups, among other things. So I would say, considering yung expectation na yan, kung yun yung reference mo just a few weeks ago or a month ago, mukhang we're slowly at least going into some sort of a de-escalation or tensions going down as we enter the holidays. Pero sisingil talaga ng tao in the coming weeks and months. So hindi pa safe si Marcos eh. And I wonder how is he going to do this constant navigating between performative and substantive without completely becoming a lame duck sooner than later or imploding his administration.
Yeah.